Want me to make up?
Huh?
Do I have to make up? Yeah, they were born on George Street.
They were.
No,
Your sister.
your mother.
Your mother was born on
Your mother was born on George Street.
And that's where you. And where did you first? So you came.
We first came. We lived on George Street. There was Mazzola with the horses and everything, and an open lot, and the house was in the back. And we lived on the next house. But because of that, they had like mice and things. Oh, one day I got scared. I was going up the stairs and this big, it looked like a rabbit. Now you see the rabbits outside, but it was a mouse.
There's no rabbits
And
in
I
Brooklyn.
I screamed, I got so scared. And then after that, my father says, oh, we're moving from here. But what did he do? We went 2 houses up. But it was a more up-to-date house because they had moved the bathroom from the hall to the inside of the house where they share it,
Right.
2 people. And we were shared it with the Parisis.
Oh, so that's the Parisi, St. Parisi's, Joe Parisi?
Joe Parisi,
Yeah, Joe Parisi.
And how old were you when?
When I came, I was 6 years old. Dina, my friend, was 3. And her brother, I think, was maybe 2.
He was younger.
Yeah, he was 2, that's all. Maybe 2, 1.5, I don't know. But I remember her because I still get in touch with her, and I still talk to her.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they come over sometimes.
So when you came over, you were
6.
the oldest. You were the oldest. And
Me.
Paul
is 5 years apart with me, but we had another sister in between.
between you and Paul.
Yeah, she was 4 years old when she died.
Wow.
And that's how come then we came.
You don't remember what? You don't remember the whole? Do you remember the trip?
Not really. I can only tell you the trip was me and my little brother, my mother, and a woman there in Italy. Her son was coming over, but he was the older than all of us. I mean, all the kids. And she said to my mother to watch over him. And I remember that because we were kids running around. My mother got sick, so the kid had to take care of us instead, because he was coming to his aunts.
Right. But you said he came over. So did she get sick on the trip?
What trip? The trip when we came.
Yeah, you're saying she got sick. When was she sick?
Oh,
Here?
she got sick at the boat ride. The
Oh,
boat got her
But he
sick.
already came. He came before once or twice. Yeah.
Oh, my father came once, and while he was here, it was the First World War,
Right.
and they took him as a soldier. And he was in the service. And after it was all over, he learned a lot. He was one of these guys, he learned a lot. All the guys of his age from the same town, some of them didn't know how to write their name.
Wow.
But he went a few years to school, and he could write poetry.
In Italy, in Sicily.
Yeah, he could
Right.
write poetry. That's how smart he was.
Right.
Comparison to his friends.
Huh. But because remember I said I saw the manifest of the ship that he came on, and the date that the ship left was September 11th, 1917. So that would have been
Right when the First World War.
so 1917. When were you born? You're the same age as Betty White, by the way. Exact same age as Betty White.
I am.
Yeah.
And you know, want to hear something funny? When I was working in Gates Avenue, there was this young girl. Her mother was working there, and she was working there.
Right.
And she says, "Oh, you're so beautiful." She says, "You remind me of Betty White." I said, "I didn't even know who Betty White was." So I said, "So really?"
I mean, back then. This was when.
I was working, after I was married. I was married, and I lived on Linden Street, and I worked around the corner on Gates
You
Avenue.
look like her now. I mean, if you You see Betty White now, you look just like her too.
Oh, see then? How do you like that? I'm a celebrity. Spring Street and
Spring
6th
Street.
Avenue, yeah.
That's where.
And you know why I took the job, Nat? I never would have taken it in that area. I used to hear funny things about Chelsea and all that.
Yeah.
The reason I took it was because the subway was here, you cross the street, and here's the building. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the job. But then, when I got the job, and a few months later, another girl got the job, which is Norma. I'm still friendly with her. And she knew all about that area. So every 12 o'clock, we used to explore. In the beginning, we explored all the restaurants. You know, we used to go to lunch. Oh, let's go to this place. Let's go to that place.
Cool.
Huh? Where did I go to school?
So when you were 6 years old when you came over, where did you
I went to 145 until about. They decided that when you're in the 6th grade, then the 7th grade, you go to a junior high school.
Right.
You know, and then I had to go to 162. So I used to, not like now. You go with the bus. I used to walk every morning from
Wow.
George Street to Slam Street and
Sedan 146.
those all the way up.
Blocks,
Huh?
about
162. 162.
How far did you have to walk every day?
A lot. You had to cross the park.
Now, did you speak Italian? Did you speak English?
Huh?
Did you speak English?
Then?
Yeah.
No, I used to cry every day. I had no notion of what they were talking about. I always thought they were talking about me.
So you went to school. You went to
I had to
English
go to school.
and you didn't speak English.
I did not speak English.
How did you go to school?
I went, and they started to teach me. And eventually, I used to come home, and my father used to help me with the homework because I understood my father, but I didn't understand what they did, you know? But he understood it a little better than I would. And then after a while, he says, don't buy me the Italian paper. Buy me the English one. I want to learn English.
So the teacher would speak to you in English?
Who?
The teachers?
Of course. Of course. They speak to the whole
You
class.
understood some of what they were saying?
Not at all. I didn't understand.
Wow.
Were
but
there
I
more
had-
Italians in the class with you?
There was a girl. I always remember her. I don't know where she ended up, but I always remember her. She was Italian, Anna, her name was. And if she saw me like that, I was a little upset because I thought they were talking about me. She used to reprimand them, you know. She said, leave her alone, you know. What are you making her upset
Are you
for?
the only two Italian non-speaking English?
Oh, I don't know if there was any others. I don't know. But she spoke Italian like me.
And English.
And she knew English because she was born here.
Yeah, okay.
So she learned better than me. I lost out on the school because I started in the 6 years old. I started in the 1st grade. I should have been in the 2nd grade maybe.
Oh.
I lost out. I know I lost
So,
out.
so when did you start learning English?
I have no idea. I don't know. I guess I picked up the words. I was anxious. I mean, I wanted to know what I was doing. But I don't remember when I picked it up. No.
So when the other kids, I mean, because you didn't speak English, you just assumed that they were making fun of you,
I used to assume
Yeah.
that. Maybe
They
they
probably were.
weren't, huh?
They probably were because
Yeah,
Here's-
because look how stupid she is. You don't understand nothing.
I mean, think about it now. When you have foreigners that move in next door, you just don't think anything of it. But back then, you were the first non-English. Like before the Italians, they were the Irish,
Sure.
but they at least
But
spoke
not
English.
in our neighborhood. Up further was German. When we moved to Menahan Street, they didn't want us there. There was only 2 more families that were Italian. The lady down the block that had the music school, her son, and the Tenettas. Those are the only 2, and us. But the people around us didn't like that. They wanted it to keep it in German. So who understood German? None of us. But a little at a time, then you pick it up. I lost out. I tell you what I lost out. Certain little things that you learn when you're a kid, they remain with you all the time. And I never was exposed to that because I didn't understand it.
What do you mean? I don't
Like-
understand what you mean.
Some things in school you learn,
Right.
okay? maybe they taught me, but I didn't understand it, so therefore it didn't remain with me. It was a little hard, you
And
know.
when did you start working? I mean, how old were you when you got like your first job?
When I came out of school, I went to junior high, 162, and then I went to Baroni's. That was a private school. You had to pay for that.
Really?
And I learned pattern making. But they also had the reason it was accepted by the Board of Education is because they had 1 year. You could take the course for 1 year, and you learn English also and arithmetic and everything that goes with it. So when I got there, they had 2 graduations a year. In the first graduation, they have the usherettes, and I was picked as an usherette and my friend.
What's an usherette?
Because my father believed in that. You know, he believed that we all should be educated.
Yeah.
Because he was. Where my father-in-law didn't know how to write his name. Could you believe that? True. He did not know. My mother-in-law didn't know how to write his name.
He worked for the gas company.
Huh? For the gas company, yeah, but he was digging the streets.
Yeah.
Who was? Your father.
My
So
father-in-law.
how was he educated?
Pete's father.
Oh,
He
your
wasn't.
father. No, your father.
I don't know. I think that in Italy, there was school if you wanted to go, but not many. There wasn't forced to go, and he wanted to go, and he went. But he went a few grades, which was nice.
I mean, what I understood in history, that the whole everybody Sicily was all about the land in Sicily. If you didn't own land, you were nothing in Sicily.
Well, you know, he didn't like it because he came here, right? Then he was in the service. And over there, he used to be a farmer in Italy. And you know how farming is. You grow this, you grow that. If the weather is bad, you get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't like that. He worked too hard and get no reward.
I guess he saw how the Americans lived, and he wanted to be like the Americans. And he thought the only
So
way
he
would
said,
be through an education.
he said that we should be educated.
Yeah.
And he wanted my brothers to be college educated because he said when they go into service, this was his main ambition, when they go into service, they'll be lieutenants. Oh, that was great. For him, that was like, oh, how nice. I got 2 boys that'll do that.
Yeah, Frank.
One boy, his head was hard like a rock. He quit high school at 6 months before he graduated.
Paul.
Crazy.
So you were the oldest, then Paul. So your first job was when, you said?
Oh, my first job, it was very bad because I came out of school. It was very hard to get a job. I didn't go to a public school. So in the public school, they would have told you where you could go. Let's say the Vogenbudrick. I would have known that from school, and I could have gone directly there, maybe started from the bottom up.
But the school you went to taught you how to do that stuff. So they didn't
Yeah,
tell
but
you where
they-
to go?
No, they
Did you do
didn't
it?
because it's a private school. So all they were interested in their end of it. You pay the money
Oh.
and you get all that. They didn't give you all that other information. But eventually I ended up there. But it was hard for me to get a job. The first job I got, a lady that was on Graham Avenue, and she had a infant wear store. That's the christening clothes for the children, for the babies. And she used to come up there once in a while. And then I told her, you know, it's hard for us to get a job. We can't get a job. So she said, I'm going to get you a job with my manufacturer. She liked me. So she was going to do that. I says, okay. So then she says to me, but you got to tell them you're a designer. I says, forget it. I says, look, I can do this. And if they like it, they'll take me. I says, but if they don't like me, I'm not going to lie to anybody, I said. And sure enough, I got the job because all I had to do was the zigzag on the bottom of the slips and around here and around the neck. And I was going like gangbusters because I wanted the job.
And
Guess
this
how much?
And this was just like a regular old manufacturing place. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah, it was a manufacturer of infants wear, little coats. There was a lady that made hats for the whole package. So she used to look at me and she used to go, "I wish I had a son for you." I says, "Why? You're beautiful. You should have a nice boy. You should." She was Jewish. She didn't have no children, but she liked me. You know, I could tell like she liked me.
And
That
how
was
old were you? How old were you at that time?
At that time, I was about 18. I started to go with Uncle Pete. And after that, I got married. That was the end of the job. Because when I finished at the end of the day, he came over to me and he says, "You got the job." He says, I'm sending my niece home. His niece had the job. But that's my uncle. Who cares if I do it or not, you know? She didn't care. I was getting it done.
Were they Jewish?
Yeah, Jewish.
They were Jewish.
Yeah, all those manufacturers were Jewish at one time.
You want to go into how she met Pete?
Yeah, I'll get there.
What?
So, I mean, so that was,
My first job.
you said you quit that job?
Yeah, I quit when I got married. Of course, then I was having a baby.
Oh.
So I quit. But I always kept working, no matter what. I quit, but I was home, and I used to get people that from the shop that wanted work done, and I used to get it done. Mr. Andrews from New York brought me doll clothes. He used to come to my house and leave the boxes, and then we used to make them. My mother-in-law wanted to be in on it, so we used to make maybe $5 each a week.
Right. So, but when you then the Menahan Street is where you moved.
No, when we went to Menahan Street, my father bought the house. That's when we first had our own house, and we had our own private bathroom, and we had all those things. Where over there, we never had a private bathroom. We had with the Dina, and we shared the bathroom.
It was in a hall.
Huh?
It was in a hall.
No, this was in the house. The one that we left was in the hall.
Yeah.
But
the one you shared with
no, with Dina, that was in the house. Because they had just fixed the house and put them inside the bathroom. But the other one was an older building. But anyway, when I was about 16, we moved to Menahan Street.
So all the kids were born. You were born, I mean, you were...
No, my sister was born there and Frank was born there on George Street.
Oh, so all the family was done. You had all four.
Yeah.
And what did Nana...
Yeah.
She was 71.
That's all she was, yeah. She was young. Well, she had a problem. She had a valve that could have been... Now they operate on that. And you live forever. Well, I have this thing. And I corrected the part that I don't get dizzy anymore.
Oh.
And that's the reason. Because when they saw in that monitor that my heart used to stop temporarily. Stop, like for a second maybe. Because it used to come out straight like that. No beat at all.
Wow. So when did you meet Uncle Pete?
Huh?
When did you meet Uncle Pete?
They all, the time of the World's Fair.
39?
The World's Fair?
Is that 39?
Yes.
39,
Way back.
39.
Yeah, that's when we started to go out.
How did you meet him? Who did you know?
Oh,
Somebody?
the people that know me.
It was like everybody knew everybody else, right?
My neighbors were his uncle, his aunt, with the next house. And I was the oldest of all the kids in those two houses. So when I went to school, everybody said, "Oh, watch the kid, you know." So I used to make them cross and whatever. It was like I was the big mama. It was unbelievable. Then when I was in the 6th grade, after I finished that, then I had to go to 162. It was all the way up past the park. And there's somebody here who, when they came from Italy, lived across the street from that park. And the mother, being an Italian, she was so proud. She says, "Oh, I have a villa right in front of me." She didn't know. She didn't know it was a
Well,
public
because
park.
they made nice looking schools back then.
It was nice. Yeah, you appreciate it much more than now.
So did you ever feel that you were disadvantaged because you came
Oh,
from
yeah.
Italy?
Oh yeah, I was. I'm glad I was here though, because I know that, like my father came back. My father went in the service, and when he was finished, he felt he has to go back home and get married. That's what he felt. So he went to Italy again. He didn't understand the part that he was an American citizen automatically because he was in the First World War. He didn't understand that. He went back and he figured it's over, but he did like to live here. His brother, on the other hand, was here. And he saw in the paper, Progresso, he saw that if you come back, you're an automatic citizen. Wow, that's all he had to hear. He put that in a letter, sent it to his brother. He packed his own valise and he went. He told my mother, he said, you should come later, let me get the job first. When I get a job that I get paid every week, he says, then you should come.
So the first time he came, what did he come the first time for?
I have no idea. I have no part of that. I don't
here
know.
at the time?
Huh?
Was his brother here at the time?
Oh, maybe he just came
Yeah.
to visit, maybe. But why would he come and visit and then?
No, they all came to better themselves.
Yeah, but the first time he did the.
But in the meantime, he was a young man, and
Oh,
the
that's
war
true.
broke out, so he had to go in the service. He didn't want to go. They got him, and he went.
So then when he was done, he said, "Screw this, I'm going back."
Huh? Then he didn't realize that he had that advantage that he was an American
Was his brother
citizen.
here at that time?
Oh, sure.
Was
His
he in
brother.
Was he in the service?
His brother didn't do nothing.
So he probably came. So did
His
he come,
brother didn't even have a decent job. He did, but his brother didn't.
So his brother came here first.
Yeah, he was married when he came.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Huh?
What
Leonard,
was his name?
Leonardo.
Who?
Leonardo,
What?
his brother. Leonard.
What do you mean, Denoto?
What's Leonardo? Is his brother's name?
Oh, no, that was another brother. That's the one that died.
Oh, because
Joseph was the one that lived around the corner by Menahan Street. They lived on St. Nicholas Avenue, around the corner.
so he was here first.
Yeah.
Joseph was.
In those days, they used to come because they had the advantage to come, and they figure they'll better themselves.
Oh, sure.
Because it's America, and you find money in the street. You know, it grows on trees. That's what they used to think. Unbelievable.
So the guy around the corner was
His older
Papa's
brother.
Why did I think that the woman was not his sister?
His
No.
uncle was the uncle.
Okay, because they look alike. I always thought they were the same.
No.
He was.
So he was the blood.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
grandpa.
Oh, okay.
But they looked at my sister like it was their daughter. That's what they wanted.
They
One
had
day
no,
they kidnapped her.
They had no children.
All right.
They had 3, but they never
Yeah,
survived.
they never lived. Yeah.
There was something wrong with their blood, I think, and they didn't survive.
So what was? Tell me how Nana felt when he said we're picking up and we're going to America.
Who?
Your mother. Oh, you were too young. You don't.
I
really
was too
remember.
young. I don't know.
She just went along. That's what you're
But
supposed
she
to do.
figured. Well, I don't know what she thought. But he was the breadwinner, so she had to do whatever he
They
wanted.
got married in Italy then.
Yeah, they got married in Italy. I was
saw the
born.
church. I saw the church. The church is on Elcamo. It's on that street. I have a picture of that church. She got
I was born. Then my sister, the one that died, was born 2 years after me.
And then Paul.
And then Paul was just about born. My father was here. And he says, that's it. He says, you better all come now. I got the job. And he had gotten the job with the sanitation. But not the joyride they have today. I mean, that was... Nobody really wanted the job then. Because it was a dirty job.
The sweeper. He was
Huh?
a sweeper with the barrel.
Besides that, before that, sometimes he had to get on the truck
Yeah.
and have boots up to
Right.
here
Yeah.
and all the garbage and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Wow. So after you started working, how did being Italian affect you when you were working, or you like just for jobs, stuff like that?
Oh, by that time I understood English. It wasn't nothing.
As far as being Italian,
Didn't matter.
didn't bother you?
No, it didn't bother me at all.
Nobody degraded
No.
you back then.
No, not like,
No.
things are so different.
Yeah.
But like when I asked you about before, we talked about when you had jobs and people would offer you a raise or a higher job, you didn't want to take it.
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't want to take that job. The reason I took it was
This is the first one, you mean?
yeah, because it was, the station was there, you cross the street and here's the building. If I had to look around to go
Right.
get it, I wouldn't have got it. I wouldn't have taken it.
So then tell me about all your jobs. Tell me how you went from one job to the next, and then what you started doing.
When I did that job, was a time of, when I got out of school, I wasn't getting any job. I went to a factory, because all our friends, they were involved in factories. But that was like a sweatshop, you know? And I never liked it. I never did like it. So one of them took me with her. She says, oh, come, try it. Okay. So I went. I took, I got one dress to make. I made it. Then after she gave me a bundle of 3. And by the next day I made it. I would have made it. She said to me, oh, at the end of the day, she says, oh, I'm sorry. She says, but you have to make 20 dresses a day. I says, wait a minute. I said, I made one, I says, and I almost finished the 3. No, I'm sorry. You have to make, in other words, you got to be very experienced in the field to be able to do that. But in the meantime, I got the idea of how to make it fast, how to make it good, and all that. In between all those things that I kept doing. I was home, and my neighbor around the corner, Catanzaro, you don't know her, she used to work with the dolls. And she says, I'm going to tell my boss to bring you some work. And he did. He started to bring me work. But you didn't make much. I mean, everybody used to help try turning the dresses and putting little dresses that big. You know, crazy things that people wouldn't do. I did it.
Hmm.
It was unbelievable.
I mean, so
Oh, first I did that. Okay. And then I got the job around the corner. No, first I got the job in the pattern, in the blouses on Menahan Street and Central Avenue. There was a shop there. And I started to work there. And I made a whole blouse, and I was satisfied, you know, because I knew at the end of the day, I knew I completed something. After a while, the boss says to me, I'm going to change to section work. I says, count me out. I says, I don't want to do that.
what's section work?
Section work is you do one thing all day long. Maybe a blouse, maybe a sleeve, maybe a collar, maybe.
Repetition.
And I says, no, it's not for me. I says, why not? He says, I'll give you a good salary. I says, I don't want it. I want to know that at the end of the day, I made 2 dresses, 3 dresses, but I made something. I want to see results of my work.
Full project, yeah.
Yeah. So he says, oh, that's too bad. In the meantime, the presser heard me talking with him, and he called me over. He says, you want a job? I says, yeah, I would love it. He says, you know, he says, my 2 sister-in-laws, he says, they work in this factory, and they like it very much. Oh, I says, okay. Gives me the address. Where is it? Around the corner from Linden Street. From the backyard, I could see the place. And I went to work there. I wasn't experienced, but I loved to do it. When I did a few dresses, the boss called me over. She says, Mary, if you listen to me, you're going to be a good dressmaker. I says, what do you mean? Don't look at the people around you. Listen to what I tell you to do. He says, and you're going to be good. I says, okay. And I used to see what she meant. This one on this side, she made the most money, I think, of the people in this factory. And if a piece was hanging out that she stretched it too much, she used to cut it off. She didn't rip it. I used to die. I thought it was my dress. I couldn't believe that she did that. And I knew what she was talking about. Well, anyway, years went by. I worked there. It was wonderful. It was right around the corner. I didn't even have to get dressed. You know, I wore my apron and I ran around the corner. So after that, they were getting tired of it and they were going to sell it. My friend, in the meantime, that worked there and used to make a sample every now and then to send it to every time you got a new lot, you know, a new dress, you had to make a sample for the boss to see how you put it together. So she couldn't do it, then she made my girlfriend do it. But then she told her, you know, you better get yourself located there. He says, because I'm going to sell it. But she didn't tell me. Then I found out that she's going to sell it. And I called Angie. I says, Angie, I want a job there. I'm not going to go looking around. If there's an opening, let me know. Well, there was something, but it was a few buildings away. But I took it. I only worked there 1 week. But in the meantime, where she worked was the manufacturer that brought us the dresses. And he had an opening, so they took me. And I started to work there. It didn't last a year. They were selling out, too. I tell you, I had no luck. See, from there, we went across the street.
What year was that about?
Oh, I don't know.
Like
know.
50s, 40s,
It could
50s?
be
Did you have children
40.
yet? Did you have...
No, wait, 42 maybe?
Uh,
Something like that.
Before the war, then. During the war.
Before the other war, yeah, when the other war was coming up, right. That's about the time.
During the war.
So then I went to work across the street, it was, and I worked about 4 or 5 years in the sample room. In the meantime, like you said, they're starting to send the work over to China, and I lost my job because I was the last one in, the first one out. I was so disappointed because I really learned a lot of things
And
there.
this was about when?
Hmm?
When was this about?
About 44, 45, something like that.
Oh.
I used to go to unemployment, and then I'd say, one day I thought I was smart. It was in Jamaica where I went, and there was Drake's school, where you learn typing and all that. I went up there. What a dream. I never could have done it. But anyway, I tried. I talked to them, you know, and I saw what they were doing. And I said, all right, I'll think about it. In the meantime, I had no idea. I would never go. I'm sure of it. But I came home and put on the TV. On the TV, there was Michael Douglas. He had a show. Not the one that's an actor now. The
No,
other
I
one.
remember the Mike Douglas show. I
Yeah.
remember that.
And he had Johnson's daughter as a guest that day. And she was going to work in McCall. Bingo! McCall is a pattern company. And I never imagined or visualized that she was going to be an executive. Because a president's daughter, she's not going to work on the machine. So I said, gee, that's an idea. She gave me the idea to call these companies.
So explain to me what a pattern maker does.
What a pattern maker does?
Yeah, I mean, why would that be any different than what you were doing? What's the difference?
I never made it, really, as a pattern maker. Because I did only the sewing part was my interest. But I could adjust, let's say, I always adjusted my pattern.
No, I'm saying is what's the difference, like when you were, whatever you were doing before, she gave you the idea to do this instead. Tell me
The idea to get a job. That's what the
Oh.
idea was. Because I didn't know what to do. But once in a while, when you're in unemployment, I was working in New York the last job, right? So they call, you go and they offer you a job. And I mentioned to them, what is Vogan? Because I call them all. I call McCall's, Simplicity. I call them all. They all give you a sob story. I will put you on the list. Forget it. So then I says to them, I says, what about Vogue and Butterick? What do they do? Oh, that's a good idea. They gave me the address. They gave me how to go there. It was the week of the holiday, Christmas and New Year. Uncle Pete always took the time off then. And I went, and I rushed, to go. And when I got there, the lady was ready to go for lunch. I'm going to go to lunch. She says, here, fill in that paper, she said. In the meantime, I was more in a hurry than her. I scribbled it, and I gave it back to her. Before she left, she looks at it, she says, oh, wait a minute. She liked what she saw, okay? Because I had the special school. I had all those other experiences that she felt I was good for this. Sure enough, she calls the lady, the supervisor from the floor. And the lady comes down with all the hard copies of the pattern. And she's telling me, did you ever make a coat? I says, not really. I says, but how much difference is a coat from a suit? I says, I made a lot of suits. It's just a little longer. She knew I knew what I was talking about, when I talked to her like that. So she says, oh yeah, that's true. Especially a lady's coat. A man's is altogether different. They pattern different, they do it all together. Of course, later I had that experience. They used to give me all the special jobs after I got into the company. But anyway, then she said to me, well, I don't know, I'll let you know, blah, blah, blah. I went home, I'm going up the steps, my phone is ringing. I pick it up, oh, could you start on Monday? I says, no, I can't. I said, I don't even know what you do. I said, I didn't see anything, I don't know. I says, could you show me what you do before I say yes or no? I says, on Friday I'm going into New York. I says, I'm gonna have my hair done. She says, could I pass? Oh, yeah, okay. I went, she showed me through the whole thing. I like what she was talking about, because it's what I know how to do. Cut the pattern, sew it, and all that. By that time, I had a system. I knew what I was doing, and I could work it out. So she liked me right away. She used to say, oh, come in the morning, and we'll have breakfast and all that. So it all worked out so nice, because she liked me right away. So she gave me a pattern to do, and I cut it out, and I made it like the sample. I made it like a sample. But after I gave it to the girl that made the pattern, because they used to put it on the figure, then they tried it on the model.
So, yeah, explain that to me. What is a pattern compared to...
paper.
I know.
A hard copy.
But it's coming from... You're taking a pattern and making the pieces, or what are you doing? What's different than what you were doing before?
The pattern department makes the pattern. The girls are there, they get a picture, the designer shows them what she wants, and they make the pattern. But then we put it together. Put it together in the different fabrics that they tell you could do it in. In the meantime, it worked out. When I finished, I gave it to the girl, and she put on the figure. And she came over to me, she hugged me, she kissed me. She said, you did such a beautiful job. So, I don't know what I did. I made a garment like I always do.
So the patterns are like the designer designs the clothes, they make a pattern, you cut the pieces, they assemble it, it's like a prototype.
It's a testing. That's a testing job. They're testing the pattern to see if it works the way the designer wants it. When they saw it on there, then they put it on the model. First she came over and kissed me. Then after, when it's all through, that the model has it on and all that, they go to the supervisor that gave me the job. And she calls me over. I says, what's the matter? She says, you did a beautiful job, but we can't do it that way. I says, what do you mean? It's a sample. To me, it was a sample. No, no, no. She says, you have to realize, she says, the people that mostly buy the patterns are housewives. And they have one of those machines. I used to work on a factory machine, but the people at home had a machine like that, and that don't work anymore.
Where is it?
That's a machine in there. It doesn't work anymore. Doesn't work. I don't know what they need to do. Maybe new things, whatever. No, I can't be bothered. I don't open it. I don't sew anymore now. That's it. So then she says to me, no, no, no. She says, you can't do that. She says, you got to realize these people, if we explained everything you did in this, we need a big envelope like that with many, many more pages, and we have to make it as simple as possible, and it should come out good. So that's what our purpose is, she says. That's why you have a job. She says, because if you make it look good and you did it fast enough, she says that's what we want to accomplish. And so there I got the job. And that was great.
And how long did you work there? You worked there till you retired, right?
Oh yeah, because I got into an accident. I had a car accident. I went into the car. Okay? You want me to explain that to you? You get up in the morning and you run for the bus. All right, so I got the bus. Get off the bus. You go around on Metropolitan Avenue. I got off here, and across the street is the train.
Subway.
The train.
Subway.
Whatever. Go ahead.
No, it's not a subway. It was the open air one, you know.
Okay.
So I got out, and all of a sudden the car started. If I had stood still, nothing would have happened. I got scared and I moved back. This car was going and I got hit. And I ended up 6 weeks in the hospital. And after that, I had no intentions of going back to work. I couldn't even stand on my feet long enough. Of course, that's a big job when you get the pattern. I used to have the pattern, the material they used to give me, and I get the table. It's a carbon copy table, because it makes all the lines. And I used to cut everything that was in the package, because I never wanted to go up and down, and I knew what I needed, and I used to roll them up just like the factory. And I used to make them. I had such a system. I made the most, I made them the best, and I didn't know it. I'm only finding that out now that I used to be good. Unbelievable.
So how long did you work there, and how old were you when you stopped working?
I was 16 years I worked there. I must have been, well, maybe, 63 and a half or 64, something like that.
6 years old?
Yeah. And that was the end of it. One day, the manager on the floor called me. He said to me, name your price, do how many days you want to do, whatever you want to do, please come back. I says, thank you so much, but I can't.
So plus, at that point, Roy was how old?
I was 64 years old.
So Roy was up and out and gone a long time.
Huh?
Roy.
Why?
So Roy was grown 60.
Sure, he was grown. By that time, sure.
So
when I first started that I went to the blouse factory was the time that Roy was growing up. And I used to cross him, and he used to come by Grandma to go to school there. So this way he didn't have to go to 162 and 132. So this is what we managed to do. If he lived there, he didn't have to go to the junior high. I got married in 1941, and he was born 1943. about a
And,
year.
and he was the only son, obviously. Did you want to have more?
No. Uncle Pete thought it was crazy. He says to me, "Didn't you have enough?" When I told him I wanted to have another baby, "Didn't you have enough?" He figured I struggled so much. It was so hard that he says, "No, forget it."
What was hard about
It was a hard delivery. It's not like now. After my sister later, she got cesarean. That's what I should have had. But they didn't know that much at the time. So all in all,
So did you think that him growing up, now they always talk about like only child and this and that. You didn't care.
doesn't matter. You know why? He had 2 cousins in this building. And to me, it was like he had 2 sisters. And he felt the same way.
Freddie and Joe.
I said, I didn't. But when he had children, then he wanted 4 kids. Because he says he wanted a brother for his son. But he never got it. He said by the time he had the 3rd one, he says, it's too expensive.
Because I always watch, we watch the old movies of you guys going on vacation together. It was always you guys and Roy. So he
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
He was older, like older than Carl and
Oh,
all the other
yeah,
cousins.
yeah.
So he was the oldest cousin from.
He was older than Anthony upstate, the one that's upstate.
Yeah.
Roy's older, about 10 years, I think, from him.
Roy's the
And Roy's
oldest.
going to be 68.
Roy's the oldest of everybody.
Huh?
Roy's the oldest of everybody.
Yeah, he was the first one born. And I'm the oldest of the whole family. Peter Cimetti is the youngest of the cousins. And I'm the oldest.
Oh, that's right. He just said that.
Because he wanted a son for his son. And he never got it. He got girls instead. They're beautiful, though. They're nice kids.
Yeah.
When I called Lisa yesterday, wanted to wish Steve Happy Father's Day.
Oh, it's first Father's Day.
Yeah, for yesterday. So she came to the phone and she was, I said, what's the matter? She says, I was playing with Kaylee. I was running after, she wanted me to run after her. She says, and then the phone rang and I had to come back and run there. So now I got out of breath, like, you know?
Who's a great Biscotti? I don't even know. I don't remember the Biscotti. What was your proudest accomplishment in life?
In life, I finally hit the sample room. That's what I wanted.
Well,
And I did beautiful clothes. You know who made me aware of that? The lady that lives across the street from them.
here?
Yeah. She's going to be 91 in August. I saw this lady. We used to go to Atlantic City, but I never had anything to do with her, really, only when I saw her there.
Where I got the car parked right now.
Yeah. So she says, her sister-in-law was my friend. I worked with her. On the very first day that I got there, her, the supervisor, we were like a group. We used to meet for breakfast every day. And I knew her very well. We used to go to New York on our birthdays. We used to celebrate our birthdays. We did a lot of things together. One day she tells her, she says, call this number. Ask her if she knows me. So she calls me. She says, do you know Lucy Seligman? I says, yeah, I just spoke to her yesterday, I said. Oh, she's my sister-in-law. And I know who it was from her voice. I says, Irene, you don't know who I am? She says, no. She says, I'm Mary. I says, we went to Atlantic City together. Oh my God. She said, my sister-in-law says that she knows you. I says, yeah, she does. Then later she does it to me. She gives me her number. But when I called her, she got scared. You know, she's like alone. And All of a sudden she said, I says, I says to her, do you know Lucy? Who's this? Who is this? Like she got nervous. I says, wait a minute, don't get excited. I said, I'm Mary, you know me. Oh my God. She got all excited because I told her, you know, that I knew her.
Well, good. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about? That was interesting.
Anything else you want to know?
No, that was.
How about your life over here? Do you like it? I know you love it here.
I do. I really like it. I did the best thing for
I
myself.
don't know how you wouldn't have survived over the other place.
I did the best thing for myself. And I didn't realize it when I did it. Because I was more worried about Uncle Pete, that he wasn't walking right and she was going up and down those stairs. And his uncle had fallen down the stairs and broke his neck. Northfield there. I says, that's going to happen to him because he's going to lose his balance. Well, he didn't make it for long here. He was only here 4 years.
A little better here than there. The other place, no way he would have made it down those stairs.
Huh?
Better here than there.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't like it here.
Oh, he did? Neither did you.
Huh?
Neither did you.
I still don't.
I said, he said Pete didn't like it here. I said, neither did he.
You know what Pete didn't like? He used to be outside in Middle Village. He used to be outside. Everybody was going to work. They would say hello to him. They talked to him. He had all the friends on the block.
He used to see people.
Over here, he said, nobody goes to work. I said, yeah, that's why we're here, because we don't go to work. He didn't realize the difference, like, you know.
The only person you saw here going to work was the postman when he came to deliver the milk.
When that thing happened with the buildings in New York, he felt like, how's the post office? Like it was so important for him because he was in charge of that place. He was in charge of the maintenance. And he had all the keys for all the rooms. When somebody came, he used to show them the room. One day he comes home, he was so happy. I says, what happened? He says, you know Jimmy Grimaldo? I said, yeah, I remember him. He says, he came. He says, he was working for the government and he updates the records, whatever they do, they check up everything in the different departments.
Personnel.
And he came there and he needed a room. So he got him the best room he could think of, you know, for him to stay. So he says, yeah, he came today. Oh, he was so nice to see him, this and that. He was so happy, you know, because somebody he knows.
He was like a relation.
What's a relation?
They were, no, they were only people that...
No, Jimmy Grimaldi.
Yeah, but he was like, they were all, the father and mother were all from the same town.
Yeah.
That's all they were. We're not relatives, no.
No, not relatives, but a close...
Friends, yeah.
He worked for the
So
company.
he came where? He came where?
To the post office.
To get a place to stay?
Yeah, they got rooms in
To make an
the
office.
90 church. They got a lot of rooms.
Oh.
And Pete was in charge of that. What happened to Uncle Pete was, after about 16 or 17 years that he worked there, because he worked there 38 years, he had an accident. An accident, and like he picked up something and his back went on him. And so they sent him to the doctor and this and that, and they couldn't do much for him. And they kept on telling him to retire. He says, no, I'm not. One thing he was so in his mind that it's important that you have a pension. He was so, oh no, then I won't have nothing for my pension, and then my wife won't have nothing. Oh no, I don't want to retire. So he had two very nice bosses. They were Italian. And one of them says to him, you're not retiring, you're sitting in my office. I'll take care of it. So he came with all the keys for all the rooms. And that's all he had to do. He had to do that. So he got like a better job, and he didn't have to work hard for it. And after he had a pension when he retired. And now I have some of it too. And he always used to tell me that. Every year in January, he used to get all the results, like if they had a raise, like I got more and all that. So then anyway, see this? He says, that's what you're going to get. I says, Pete, we're going to go together. I says, what are you worried about? It was on his mind, so important. That to him was the most important thing.
Why do you think that was important to him? The way he grew
Because,
up? How did he grow up?
yeah, because his mother didn't have that. And he was wishing that she would have. Because father, maybe if the father knew that, maybe if he understood it, he would have had it too. Because he was working for a gas company. So I'm sure they have all those things.
And when was Uncle Pete born? When?
Uncle Pete was born 1916.
So he was, during the Depression, he was how old? He was like in the 20s, right?
Huh?
During the Depression, he was in his 20s?
Oh yeah, he was young. He was young.
So that...
But he knew that pension was very important. Because you could never have that much that you could survive on it if you don't get something coming in. And he was conscious of it all the time.
The first boy, male born, is the one that does everything. What?
They believed in that in Italy.
Right. So why wasn't Paul?
Because Paul was, you know the bricks outside, how hard they are? He had a hard head like that. That's how he thought. He thought, hey, if my father said do it, and I'm not. If my father said go, and I'm not. Anything your father said, don't do it. You're supposed to do it, you're supposed to listen to your father, not him.
So isn't that kind of what Frank did?
Hmm?
Isn't that kind of what Frank did? He didn't do what...
No, he did. He went to
did.
college. And that's why my father marked it for him.
Only but to go to college.
So to make it worse, he didn't want to go to college, so he quit 6 months before he graduated high school. Isn't that stupid too? Then the rest of his life he went to night school. He got educated after. He went to night school. Crazy, crazy. As long as he didn't do what his father said. Somehow or the other, that bothered him. My kids, Brian thought that when he went to college that he would be in international finance. But after he realized that if you have to do that, you have to learn a lot of different languages. And that threw him off. He says, I know Spanish a little bit, but I have to learn all those other. It was like no good, you know.
Mm.
But his counselor told him, why don't you be a lawyer? He never thought of it that way. My son always did. He thought he was the lawyer type. That's what he thought.
Who, Roy?
The lawyer type.
Roy thought that Brian was the lawyer type?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he could just, you know, on his graduation, the guy that was in charge of the bowling,
Yeah.
he revived that thing and made it so good for him. When
Revived
he
what?
took Brian,
Who revived what?
the bowling, he wasn't running it right, so he was showing them how to do it, okay? And it came out good after he did all that. And he was the bowler of the year, my grandson. He was everything. Not only that, then the man was going to retire, and they wanted somebody to make a speech. And the guy that they picked, he says, oh no, not me. He says, all right, he says, I'll do it. He gets up and he makes a speech. Without even thinking, he made a speech. I can't believe it, you know.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. Getting
Yeah,
in front of people and talking.
When I had the 50th anniversary, Roy says, can't Brian do it? He said, but Brian is not your son.
That's funny.
Because Brian, it would have been nothing. He just would have got there and talked.
Right.
My son made a poem, read a poem.
Well, good. I mean, it was fun. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff I didn't know about you.
They did very well,
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah.
Lisa is a paralegal. The other one is an interior designer, and he's a lawyer. Can't go better than that.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So when's Roy retiring? He's about ready.
Oh, I don't know that he wants to retire. He's in
How old is
charge.
he? He's 60.
68 he's going to be.
He's 68?
He's going to be.
Wow.
Well, we're 21 years
I know,
apart,
I know.
man. We're 21 years apart, and I was 88.
Wow.
Nobody believes I'm
I
88,
don't
but
believe it, yeah.
but I am. You want a drink?
All right.
Huh?
Want something to drink?
Soda, something?
Yeah, I'm good.
How about the water or something?
want
That's
something? You
all
want
I
something?
have.
No, I'm fine. You want something?
Yeah, I'm dry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.